Good evening. The September 26, 2018 meeting of the Long Branch City Council will now come to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler?
Here.
Mr. Vieira?
Here.
Dr. Vogt?
Here.
Dr. Selly?
Here.
Mrs. Wittes?
Here. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
And I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspapers in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and posted as required by law.
Reading and approval of previous minutes, I need a motion to approve the minutes of September 12, 2018.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Vieira?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. Consideration of ordinances, public hearing, and final consideration. This is the second reading of Ordinance 19-18, entitled An Ordinance Amending Section 5-16 of the Code of the City of Long Branch, and providing for the appointment of Long Branch residents to advisory councils, boards, and commissions. This ordinance was introduced on September 12, 2018. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
If there is anyone in the audience that has a comment to make regarding this ordinance, please step to the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once. No? Okay. I need a motion to close.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This is the third reading of 19-18, entitled An Ordinance Amending Section 5-16 of the Code of the City of Long Branch and providing for the appointment of Long Branch residents to advisory councils, boards, and commissions. I need a motion to adopt on third and final reading and advertise according to law.
So
moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Vieira?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. This is the second reading of ordinance number 20-18, entitled An Ordinance Amending Ordinance 325-3C, Schedule 2, of the Code of the City of Long Branch, South Lake Drive. The ordinance was introduced on September 12, 2018. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If there's anyone in the audience that has comments to make regarding this ordinance, please step to the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once. I see none. I need a motion to close.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is the third reading of ordinance number 20-18, entitled An Ordinance Amending Ordinance 325-3C, Schedule 2 of the Code of the City of Long Branch, South Lake Drive. I need a motion to adopt on third and final reading and advertise according to law.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Vieira?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. There are no ordinances for introduction this evening. At this time, I need a motion to open the public portion of the meeting for all comments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If anyone in the audience has any comments to make, please step to the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
It's right up there, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a minute.
Actually, maybe you might want to wait 1 second. You just have
somebody
somebody
there.
right there.
Go ahead.
My name is Mary Ann Falcone.
Move the
Ms.
mic
Falcone,
down.
could you just lower the mic a little bit?
Is that low enough? Is that good enough?
And close to the
Oh, closer to me? Is this better?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. My name is Mary Ann Falcone. My address is 5201 Avalon Court in West Long Branch. And even though that is my address, I have lived in Long Branch for a very long time, and I'm very thankful that my husband and I both have been working at the senior center for a long time when we did live in Long Branch. And we have been grandfathered in because he started with the gung-ho guys that Pat very warmly invited to come to the center to do their practicing. And then when I retired, I was so impressed with what was going on that I was there also. So we have been doing the things that we need to do to keep our membership in the Long Branch Senior Center okay, because we love it there. Tonight I am here to explain why Pat, the current director of the Long Branch Senior Center, should stay as director of the Senior Center. We've known her for 20 years, and we keep coming back because she keeps doing more and more things that keep us involved as well as other people that are there. She's created new activities, and that's why we stay there. Both my husband and I were part of the athletic programs. We volunteer. We've been there to do re-registration, which has to be done every year so that we keep our funding coming into us. One of the activities that we really enjoy is Lunch and Learn, where we learn about healthy things for our health, such as heart attacks or strokes, what to look for. And one of the most important things this year was we had lunch, our Lunch and Learn was telling us about the scams that are out there that can really get people in trouble. In fact, I was mentioning one that I had on the phone, and I refused to answer it. And the person who was there said, that's one you certainly don't want to answer, because if you do that one, you're going in trouble for a very long time. Pat wanted to have a play group there, and she asked my husband and I to be in charge of it. So we have been doing a play group. We do it in the summertime. The local play groups that are there, such as the Axelrod Theater, there is so much there to offer us, and everyone loves it, and no matter where you sit in the audience, you can see what's going on, and it's been very successful. We often go south in the wintertime, and when we come back, we're so happy to see new people that have joined the Senior Center from all walks of life, and we are so happy to interact with them, and many times they become our good friends too. We love to dance, and this is the only, I meant to say that one of the fun things that we do, Pat has special activities for the holidays, but not just the holidays of Christmas and New Year's and things like that. We have, let's see, where have I got this? We have St. Patty's Day, Veterans Day, Black History Month, and things like that. And my husband and I love to dance, and this is the only place at our age that we can go and really find a nice place to dance and have a good time. In fact, I'll have to tell you a cute story. Last week we were honoring the policemen, and I stood up to dance, and I wasn't doing such a good job. And my daughter has been saying, Mom, you need to go to physical therapy. Well, the result of my not doing so well for the dancing last week, I have signed up with my doctor, and I'm going to be doing physical therapy because I want to be there with everyone else. And by the way, those special entertainment things that she does, we have usually 1 or 2 sign-up days. There usually are 90 or more people signing up to be there for those activities, and there also is usually a waiting list involved with that. We would like to invite anyone who's interested, no matter who they are, where they are, to come to the center, see what we do, and just enjoy ourselves, and we're glad to ask. One of the other new things we had this year, though, was someone wanted to start a garden. So they've started a garden, and they use the vegetables and things in the center themselves and giving it to other people. And another really great thing is there are so many art things going on there now. In fact, we were there the other day, and the group of people there were so many people involved in the art activity that there were like three
Sorry, Mrs.
long
Falcone, your time
tables.
is up.
Okay,
So we invite you to come to the center anytime. We'd love to answer questions or just show you around. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, did you?
You come to the mic, please.
Hi, my name is Mr. Jarvis, future mayor of Long Branch in 2022. I just got a quick question. Resolution to authorize the city to participate in a federal work study with Monmouth University. What kind of work study you talking about? Because I would like to be a part of that.
The work-study program is something that has existed, but Long Branch apparently hasn't done it. So it's a work-study program whereby the federal government, I believe, pays the majority of an internship. Well, it's not, it's actually a paid program with the university. And I think the city pays somewhere between 2-something and 3-something per hour, and the federal government picks up the rest, or it's something in conjunction with the university. The good part about it is that the city can pick the individuals based on their qualifications and so forth. I know that we have there's been a request for some assistance in the senior center, community development, and so those individuals, would be selected. Individuals would be selected, and then that's how the program works.
Okay.
In terms of community development, for example, we're initiating a new program for SHOP Long Branch. So my understanding is that the community development department would like to get somebody who could help with the marketing and the research of that to help make that work. And again, so the city would be hiring people and getting a drastic reduction in the cost, and we'd have that asset, because like I said, we pick who we want, and it's a qualified people. It's not like you're just taking an intern that's given to you by the university. There's a selection process.
Thank
to
you.
it.
Thank you. That's it. That's it for right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Kathy Krisnaz, 129 Norwood Avenue. First, I'd like to send thanks out to the people who provide the Facebook Live videos, because for some of us that can't attend the meetings all the time, it's a great asset, and I feel like I can be a part of the meetings, so thank you to you. I was watching the last meeting, and I was a little bit disturbed by a comment that was made, and I guess in our society, a lot of times people criticize when things are not going their way or they have complaints, but we're not as likely to come out and say all the good things that are happening. So I wanted to come and share some good things to kind of counteract what I heard at the last meeting. I'm obviously not old enough to attend the senior center, but my mother has been an active member for the last 5 years. When she was getting ready to retire, a lot of people told her, you're going to be bored upon retirement. You're not going to have anything to do during the day. You're not going to have your family, with you. It was amazing when I saw the first calendar, and as I've seen her bring the calendars home, and there's just so many opportunities between art classes, exercise classes, lunch and learns, as the previous lady said. There's so many opportunities for the seniors of Long Branch, and I think that's a wonderful thing. I had the pleasure this summer of volunteering my time. I'm a teacher, so I have the summers off. I had the opportunity to volunteer my time, and I taught a class at the senior center on cookie decorating. And it was a wonderful opportunity. I met with the director first. I sent my proposal to her about what I had planned, what I wanted to do for the class. She was so accommodating to me. She was so welcoming to me. And just from the moment I walked into that room, it was just teaching the class. Her assistants came in and they spent the time with us when we were in the class. And it was amazing how much, it was a family. It was a very warm, inviting place. And I hope it's around when I'm old enough. I still have some time, but I hope that is available to me as a resident of Long Branch. I've been a resident, lifelong resident. I went through the public schools here. And as I said, I'm a teacher myself. And one of the things that we try to do as educators, I've been teaching for 19 years, we always try to build relationships with families. We try to build relationships with parents. And one of the things that kind of hurts and breaks that relationship is when a parent, instead of coming to me with a problem, they go to my superiors, they go to my principal, they go to my superintendent. It kind of breaks that trust, and it kind of breaks that respect that we hope that we can build with them. I think a very important part is, I think sometimes there's just miscommunication. So if we take the time and we actually speak to one another, instead of speaking about one another, I don't think this is the forum to throw people under the bus. I don't think this is the forum to, bring down people's character. So I just want to leave it at that if we do have opportunities to, even if we had disagreements in the past, just speak to one another. I think it's very important. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, fellow residents of Long Branch. My name is Gladys Tarantino. I live at 466 Narragansett Avenue, and it has been my pleasure to live in Long Branch for 43 years and raise my family here. I am a member of the Long Branch Senior Center, and I would just like to speak to you because it is near and dear to my heart. I would like to say that the administration at the Senior Center is very caring, understanding, and loving. They will always listen to us. They always ask us for our input, and they always want to know, what would you like to do? What would you like to see happen? It was my pleasure this past year, as Carol Thomas, one of the other members, decided that, we have a lot of members that are becoming homebound. And she decided that she would like to see the garden started. She went and she spoke to Pat and the staff, and they said that would be a wonderful idea. But as they are always so concerned about our health and well-being, Pat said, we can't ask our seniors to kneel or bend over or do these types of things. So she came to the city. She came to the Department of Public Works. I would like to thank all of you for supporting us. The Department of Public Works built us a couple of boxes that we were able to grow our vegetables in and gave us some soil. Through a small stipend, we were able to buy some plants. We donated plants. We grew plants from seeds. And we were able to have a very successful, and I'm so proud of what we were able to accomplish. And I hope that you'll be there for us in the future. I hope that we can depend on your backing and your support to help us make things work out. We can then become productive citizens in Long Branch and stay active and educated and helpful to our fellow citizens. Thank you very much for your help.
My name's Mary DeLisa. I reside at 551 Summer Street. Good evening, Mayor and Council and everybody present. I've been a member of the Long Branch Senior Center for over 16 and a half years. I believe the accusation raised at the previous council meeting against our wonderful daughter, Director Pat, and her staff is ridiculous and is only creating problems where none have ever existed before. I invite you all to come and visit with us individually, talk to us, other than at special events, and see what we're really all about. We all love that place, and we think you will too, if you just come and see what we're about. Thank you. Okay. All right, I have another quick matter. I stated before I live on Summer Street, which is a narrow street, and I think it's one of the most heavily traveled roads in town, due to the fact that it's a shortcut between Bath and Norwood. And cars speed down so fast regardless of the posted 25-mile-hour speed sign. I fear for the small children on the street and the animals. It's really horrendous. I'm afraid myself. When I sit on the porch and I watch them go by, I sometimes have to yell out, slow down. And then I think I better not, because you never know. You might find some kook with a gun. So I don't do it anymore. Also, we've all been victims of hit and run at one time or another. One recently as 2 weeks ago. And just yesterday, a car sped down our street so fast, He wound up against the pole at the bar up by, it used to be called the Springdale, up by Springdale Avenue. And also, there is such a sharp turn, and I mean a real sharp turn, at a bend where Summer Street and Overton Place meet. And two cars have a hard time turning, and sometimes wind up practically on two wheels due to speeding. My neighbors and I would hope to see Summer Street a one-way, as it is too narrow for two cars to go in opposite directions at one time, and feel perhaps this will cut down or eliminate the excessive speeding. We beg you, please, please, have a traffic study done to help resolve these problems before someone is either badly hurt or worse, killed. Thank you.
Chief Roebuck, initially, can we just, I mean, I don't know if you have any comment, but can we also like step up enforcement there and put a digital sign at least temporarily and maybe look into it?
Thank you. You did a good job.
Requesting 1 minute notification, Vincent Lepore, 33 Ocean Terrace, Long Branch. Here again this evening. It's not getting pleasant coming to these meetings anymore. What was supposed to be hope and optimism is now becoming the same old. But tonight in particular, being the most upsetting, and this is quite out of the ordinary for me, I have found myself twice on the public record defending the Senior Center Director, Pat Kranicki, from false accusations again. At the last council meeting, accusers, violations. Alice Kessler. Violations of her income property. I wrote a letter to the council and backed it up. What I claimed was a local telephone book of violations by Alice Kessler on her numerous income properties in the city of Long Branch. Looking at these violations, Ms. Kessler is in no position to accuse anybody 9 months ago of financial improprieties, or at the last council meeting, discrimination. The suggestion of discrimination by Alice Kessler at the last meeting was baseless. I had the privilege in this life of having two very close friends, Anna DeFaria and Rose LaRosa, towards them, as there was by other departments in this city during that eminent domain battle. Shame on Ms. Kessler for making any suggestions of discrimination against the Senior Center and its staff. The reality is, this city discriminated against Anna DeFaria and Rose LaRosa, ethnically, culturally, economically, and also discriminated against them as elderly. And yet, still, they found a home and happiness in the Senior Center. The director, Patty Kranicki, and her staff were able to rise above it. But I'd like to address the audience as well this evening, because what troubles me is, for the second time I'm here, defending Pat Kranicki, and yet, Mr. Pallone and Miss Selly have been an integral part of that Senior Center for many years. If they had any hint of discrimination or financial impropriety, they would have moved in, but they haven't.
1 minute.
So ask yourselves this evening, and then I will request this audience tomorrow at the Senior Center luncheon to walk up to Mr. Pallone and walk up to Miss Selly and state, why aren't you like Vincent Lepore defending our Senior Center Director, Pat Kranicki, from Alice Kessler? Why did we have to come to a council meeting last night to do what you should have done on the public record? That's the question. They have overseen all financials through the budgeting process of that senior center. They have been an integral part of all the events there. They have not witnessed any discrimination, and they have not witnessed any financial improprieties. Therefore, they should be defending Pat Kranicki. Best of luck to you.
Mr. Lepore, it's an interesting interpretation, but one that's false. And I'm not going to argue with you, Mr. Lepore. Please, your time is up.
I will respond to that because you're not
No,
getting away
I'm
with it.
sorry.
I am not
Council
false.
President, please.
Mr. Pallone, you're a liar. You're a liar and a charade artist.
Sorry.
Allow this to
You're
come.
out of order.
Mr.
There
Lepore,
was out of order.
Mr. Lepore, I speak to Pat all of the time.
Then you should have defended her.
Councilwoman Selly is the liaison to the senior center. For the last 8 years, both of us have supported every single initiative that she has ever brought before us. So you can come up, sir, you can come up and you can say whatever you want, but it is just inaccurate, false, and you're distorting the facts. That's your opinion. I'm giving you my opinion, sir. Speaking of which, Mr. Lepore, I contact you constantly, in person and on the phone, to come and talk to me about anything. Almost every week, you do not respond to any of my calls, to anything that I've ever said to you for the last 4 years. And I will continue to reach out to you about this and anything else, but you're completely unresponsive. That should be on the record, Mr. Lepore. And I extend that to you today and to every day. I am asking you to please come and see me, and I would like to talk to you about any issue that you want to discuss, as well as anybody in this room. I've made that clear. That's true of me, and that's true of everybody sitting on this council. That's all I have to say, Mr. Lepore. That's all I have to say, Mr. Lepore. Council President.
David Allen Brown, 449 Norwood Avenue in Long Branch. I'm coming tonight. I came in April, and I've come probably for the last 22 years, and I've gotten no response, formally or informally, from the city council or the police department in reference to Norwood Avenue. Hollywood and Norwood, since that last meeting, there might have been 3 or 4 accidents, and one was almost fatal. And I know that the police department told the previous mayor and council they were going to investigate it. I have not seen anything in writing from the mayor or the council or the police department what they've sent to the county. It's a very dangerous street. And if you know, it's more dangerous in the summertime because there are probably, I don't know, maybe 5,000 residents in that neighborhood extra in the summertime, but it is very dangerous. Matter of fact, since I've lived there, I've had 4 people crash into my house right there. I mean, literally crash in the house, but it is very dangerous. I know they put up signs, and we might not even have all the records of it because half the time the accidents are handled by West Long Branch, the other half are handled by Long Branch. I mean, there needs to be something to put a light up there because what happens is people speed up coming around the bend, coming from Broadway after they take that light, and oftentimes it's a blind side, and then you get people that come from Hollywood and they just there's accidents. I mean, I don't know, the chief of police, he'll have all the records, but it's a dangerous corner. And I guess the main reason I'm here tonight, I haven't heard anything about a response to it. And I remember matter of fact, everybody that was on the council now was at that meeting when I spoke in April questioning it. I just want to know if the police department or if they've done anything with the county or if there's been anything that's been done to look into that street, not necessarily for me, but for the people who live there and those that live in the corner. I don't want to ask the residents to come up here but they continue to complain about it, and they complain to me about it all the time. So that's all.
Mr. Brown, I can't speak for what was done with the previous administration. I don't know, Chief Roebuck, are you familiar with this at all? But we'll certainly follow up on it now.
So the problem is it's county road. Problem is that half the people come from the West Long Branch side, the other half come from our side. We have put larger signs up there on our side, on both sides, the large stop signs and stop sticks over there. We requested that West Long Branch do the same on theirs, but that's pretty much all we can do. I don't know if they have or not, but we can only ask. You know, we asked them if they would do the same on yours, on their side. I don't believe you'll ever get a light there just because of the amount of traffic that goes through there. It has to be a certain amount of traffic. You know, I guess, Mayor, I'm just looking for somebody to do some work on it. Because I mean, for the last 22 years, nobody from the city has actually worked on it. And it's not on Mr. Roebuck or you or whatever. I just want somebody to actually send a letter or somebody actually to do work on the project. Not just assume nobody's worked on it. I guarantee you, if they work on it and look at the statistics, there's reason to put a light there. And I don't want to get that.
We'll follow up immediately, Mr. Brown. We'll follow up immediately. Thank you.
Thank you.
Avery Grant, 405 Atlantic Avenue. I'm late coming because I had my board meeting. But in talking with Mr. Lepore, he said there was some criticism of Pat at the senior center. And I'd be very concerned. I was the second chairperson of the county's advisory council, and Long Branch has always been in the forefront with senior centers, even though we established them across the county. And I also chaired the swine flu inoculation of all our seniors here. And we went to Washington, got money for the Asbury Park congregational senior building down there. So I'm well aware of all the senior work and what Pat has done. So if there's some problem, let's don't disturb something that's good. And I don't really know the background, but he seemed very upset that maybe someone was taking a pot shot at Pat. And I would say, please, you'd make a mistake if you did that, because she's doing good work. Long Branch has a good name in senior centers, the things that we're doing here, and she's always looking for something new. And I would sometimes ask, well, she wasn't back there when I was the chairman, but I would ask someone from Long Branch to travel with me to places around the county to give them example of what was going on. And of course, I was the representative to the White House Conference on Aging, and I brought to them some of the things that we were doing. And that's why we were able to get some money. We started the SCAT system, Meals on Wheels. So please, let's keep, and I have confidence that you're a good board and you're a good mayor. So let's move off as you're doing a good job and keep the community together. And please leave the center alone, just support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Hi, Ernest McNolly, Asbury Park, New Jersey, born in Long Branch. I just wanted to say that recently I was in the process of trying to purchase a home in Long Branch, and I guess some of my esteemed distractors in Long Branch seem to have soured some of the sellers, and all of a sudden they came up with a counter bid, which is okay. But I do think in the near future I'll buy a home in Long Branch, and I think maybe I'll get a little bit more attention when I come here when that happens. So for starters, I'd like to say that I'm just wondering, I'm sending a lot of emails and things to the clerk, to the city council, and I'm hoping that they're getting forwarded.
Yes, they are.
Excuse me?
Yes, they are being forwarded.
Okay. So being that there's such a disturbing nature of possible
Mr.
criminal...
Miller, did you want us to comment on it? Sure.
Sure.
Go
Well,
ahead.
is that your time or mine?
That's your
'Cause oh, it is my time? Then no comment, thank you.
Well,
no,
after you-
I want to use my time. Okay.
After you use your time, we're going to make a little comment, so please proceed.
It's okay with me. So there's disturbing and could be criminal behavior by city employees in those emails, character assassination. There's profanity attached to your picture, to some of the council members, to Senator Gopal, etc., at public functions that you've had. And they put F blank 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 K, my name, and they put it on your picture. And they're posted all over the internet. They're up on stickers all over Asbury and Long Branch. Long Branch firemen are claiming responsibility for it, and they say that you're involved. They say that the new city business administrator is involved, that he happens to be a holy smoker with them, and he's down with everything, he's okay with it. We find out that Mr. Musi, who was not so popular in the election, apparently you made the head of the search committee for the city business administrator, which I find interesting that last week when someone said, gee, why don't we try a fresh approach? I wondered why at the time you wouldn't say to that person, well, we used Mr. Musi to do the search, and we already gave someone a contract, and they were hired at that time. But instead your comment was like, okay, we'll make it a try. I think that was kind of withholding some facts that had already happened. The next day it hit the newspaper. I was dismayed because it's Eatontown. Mr. Musi was an Eatontown police officer. When he was a chief at Monmouth University, he was very close with Mr. Jackson. The FMBA is claiming close association with Mr. Jackson, that they're holy smokers and they're going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to keep raising money from the church, keep having alcohol, cigars, parties all night long. Apparently it's all approved, etc. Okay, so that's that. I also think that the character assassinations here last week, someone here was actually sending real-time videos of me out to some of the fire marshal and some of the other people that were attaching profanity to it and sending it to me right while I was here. And when I offered it to you, you didn't want to see it, but it's okay. It's all documented. And by the way, the main person I'm talking about is Fire Marshal Thomas A. Siciliano. Now, another thing I find interesting is I open the link, and lo and behold, we have Chief Roebuck endorsing the city council that you fired. Now, I find that... have you seen this?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little confused.
What about what? You want me to show it to you?
No, I saw it, but I don't know what you're saying there.
It's an advertisement for the city council that you fired.
City
for
council?
Business in
Are you talking about the ad for the city attorney?
Yeah, city council. No, not council, I-L-E-L. Council, the lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Ansel Grammarian. You fired them. That's why we have Mr. Renaud, right? Here's Chief Roebuck endorsing in his name the fired city council. Is there any coordination here? You see it? Second page of the link. Chief Roebuck endorses James Aaron. Is that my time up?
Your time is up, thank you.
I had a few more things, but okay, anyway, you wanted to respond to me? No?
No, no comment, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay. I need a motion to close the public participation. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, good evening. Patty Veracki, 246 Jerome Avenue, Oakhurst. I just had 2 points to make tonight. I know the senior center is a very popular place. My mom enjoys it tremendously. I know that there's a lot of seniors that have had problems to travel there to sign up. because they only allow sign up in person. And I'm sure that the whole problem with that is that they have to be careful to not overbook the events. So if people were to call in and sign up their friends, I'm sure there must be a lot of logistics involved with that make it complicated. And I don't know what calendar they go by, but I think we have to really give credit to the seniors that want to stay active socially, mentally, physically, as much as possible. It's healthy for all of us, for our community. And possibly maybe we need to expand the senior center. I know that I don't think there's any place that they can go to swim right in town, and that is an excellent physical fitness activity for them to do. I also noticed Mrs. Selly has a very hard time with just coming up on the stage here, and I don't think that some things are that expensive where possibly a small little ramp could be made here for someone with a disability. I would just like to, I know that there's a new committee for the disabled forming, and I hope that you would try to get some of the opinions from the seniors, the disabled, and even Vince Lepore. As much as there seems to be tension there is a lot of truth into many of the things he tries to point out to you guys. And the other point I wanted to ask was, at one of the previous council meetings I went to, I asked if there was anyone from Long Branch that specifically applied for the business administrator, which was a question that I was asking for someone else. And from what I'm seeing, there's still a lot of talk about that. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. I don't think the questions are a personal question, like, well, who's the resume? Let us see their profile or who they are. But just in general, were there people from Long Branch that applied for the position?
That's a question.
That would like to have answered on record,
so,
yes.
Yeah. So let's, let me be clear. I thought that I had at the last meeting.
Yes, but it wasn't on record.
And I called you and I made an extensive conversation.
Correct.
At the last meeting, I was asked by you if anyone had applied for the position of business administrator from the city of Long Branch, and I did say no. Realizing, after I answered your question, that was all new applicants. The only person who applied from the city of Long Branch was Mr. Hayes. There was not another Long Branch resident who applied for the position of business administrator. If you remember, I went to the back of the room and I mentioned that to you. I just
wanted it to be on record,
absolutely.
not just to me personally.
I misspoke in the sense that we were looking for doing a search for a business administrator. Obviously, most people knew that Mr. Hayes was from Long Branch. But if your question is now, was there another applicant from the city of Long Branch other than Mr. Hayes? The answer is still the same, and it is no. Now, I noticed on Facebook that there were one or two people who said that they were applying.
Yes.
There was some confusion as to business administrator. You asked me about the business administrator. There are some applicants from Long Branch, several applicants for Long Branch for other positions, but not for the business administrator, which was what your question was directed at. So if you want that on the record, I hope I've cleared that up.
Yes.
That's a fact.
All right.
Mr. Lepore, I will add, had put in an Oprah request that he wanted the names and the resumes of every individual.
But that turned out where there was no answer or response.
So Mr. Raynon responded to that. And quite frankly, I think it's very fair. I mean, I don't think when people apply for a position, there's the expectation that their application is for the public record. In addition to that, Patty, let me also say that several of the applicants, had other positions. So, I mean, it really would be unfair to do that.
Right.
I also want to just throw out another point here because, and I apologize with Mr. Lepore, but you had asked to get Mr. Lepore involved. I would love to get Mr. Lepore involved. I mentioned that at several meetings. I'll repeat again that I call him. I try to talk to him. I want to hear what he has to say. Years ago, we had a relationship. I would call him. He would call me. For some reason that ended. I don't know why. But I'll give you another point, and that is that he also requested all the names of everyone that was on the transition team while we were putting that together. That was not a public document. That was not an operable document. Mr. Raynone made that clear to him. But what I offered to Mr. Lepore and what I said to Mr. Lepore is I called personally, which I didn't have to, the 9 or 10 chairmen of the various transition teams and said, would you mind if I released your name? And they all said yes. I didn't want to call 60 people. I didn't think you know what I'm saying? I mean, so in other words, to change that, to distort that in a way is really unfair. I suppose I could have spent my time calling 60 individuals and saying, would it okay to be released? But again, the expectation when somebody volunteers for something is not necessarily, I think, that they're going to feel like, okay, well, my name's going to now be in the public record. Do you know what I mean? But I went out of my way to call the chairman, to make those 9 calls.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if I'm addressing your question. And again, I keep repeating myself here with the senior center. I talk to Pat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
She's been in my office. I went to the senior center recently, not because of an event, to speak with her. Dr. Selly and I speak all the time about the senior center.
Right.
And I meant that. And Dr. Selly, correct me if I'm wrong, there hasn't been a single initiative in the last 8 years that has been brought forward by either Pat or Dr. Selly that we have not supported. Am I correct with that?
You might even want to talk about the fact that we're talking to the county,
Yes, and I mean, Ms. Wittes, for example, we just had a meeting with the county that she organized with Dr. Selly, with myself, with Pat, to see what new programs and what things we could put in effect for seniors.
Correct.
Something that hadn't been done before.
Right.
So I just take a little offense to Mr. Lepore when he comes up here. And I don't want to personalize this because tomorrow I'd love to sit down with him.
Right. Well, for the sake of transparency and for the public, sometimes it's better to do things on record as much as maybe you prefer to do it in a personal level. I guess that's my opinion. I'm sorry. But I do understand your point of view. It sounds like you've reached out and now at least it will be on public record, the answer that there were at least one other applicant from Long Branch. Thank you.
Thank you.
I need a motion to close the public participation portion of this meeting.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolutions. We can take the listed resolutions as a consent agenda. Please note that there have been 2 additional resolutions that have been added, which are R-214-18, resolution recognizing Hispanic Heritage Month, and R-215-18, recognizing German Heritage Month.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
In regard to the resolutions, I vote yes on all resolutions except for R-212-18. On that resolution only, my vote is no.
Mr. Vieira?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. I need a motion to approve the listed application.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Vieira?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. At this time, I'd like to ask the council members if they have something they'd like to say. Councilman Dangler?
Yes, thank you. On two weeks ago at the Trinity AME Church, they had Family and Friends Day. Reason I'm bringing it up now, I just want to compliment one of the police officers who came to the event. A couple of them came, but one in particular, Officer Shapiro, he came and came with a bright smile, and he played with the kids. He made the kids feel comfortable, and I like to see, more of that when it's possible, because it was unsolicited. You could see he was just comfortable, enjoying himself with the kids. He even got on the ground and did some push-ups. He was showing off a little bit, but regardless, it was just nice for him, nice to see that, and I just wanted to publicly say I do appreciate that. Also, I hear I guess the members of the senior center. I do hear you tonight. At first, you almost had me wondering if I missed a meeting, but I don't believe, and if I'm out of line, please let me know, but I don't believe we're even considering a new director. We did have a complaint. We did have a complaint last, at the last meeting, but it's really not our position to debate back and forth on when somebody makes a statement, and we just, we listen to it. We don't ignore it, we just listen to it. But again, we're not, I do appreciate you guys coming to support what your senior center means to you, and I just want to congratulate you for coming out and voicing your opinion.
Thank you. Councilman Vieira?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm with Bill with the senior citizens. I applaud you for coming out. And remember, there's a scale. We have one, and you tip the scale the other way. So remember, it looks very good. And thanks for coming out. Another thing is that when this team was formed in the beginning, we were very big on having some local jobs for Long Branch people. So I'm going to report to you that I've been knocking on these doors for these developers, on these contractors on the ocean side, and I did get somebody to commit to hire some local people. So if there's anybody out there that's looking for a job in the construction field, please give me your information, and I'll try to hook you up with these contractors. You might have to pass a drug test, but I don't think they'll hire because most of the construction's is involved with that. So if anybody's out there, give me your information. It won't be right away, but when they do the construction inside, the sheetrock and all the cleaning, they will hire somebody from Long Branch. And I got 90% of the contractors to agree on that. All right, and good evening. Thank you.
Councilwoman Vogt?
So 3 quick things. I stand with my 2 fellow council members here in congratulating the senior center members for being here tonight. It's and in terms of not taking a stand, just as was said before, not taking a stand, but it has always been the reputation I have always heard is that our senior center is totally outstanding. So you know that you have our support with that. Second thing, I'm gonna that kind of stands out to me, David Brown, in particular to your comment, but I think with a few comments, and I think this is for us to pay attention to. We need to close the loop. We need to get back to people, and we need to. All of your comments are taken very seriously. They prompt a lot of discussion and thought on how we can respond. And I think maybe sometimes we don't get back to people enough to let them know. So I think that was an important point to be made. And third, Patty, thank you for bringing up the suggestion for the very simple adaptations that we can make. You know, those of us that don't experience a disability aren't aware of the simple things. The simple things. A ramp is, so for us to be aware that, and keep making us aware of those things, because it's a very, that's what we want to do. We want to respond on those things that can make everybody comfortable to participate. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Councilwoman Selig?
I look out on the audience, and I see a lot of friends from the senior center. And believe me, I am very proud of that senior center. I'm very proud of all the members and all the volunteer time that they put in. And for those of you that worked on the garden, I was fortunate enough to get some of the tomatoes. I want you to know the senior center is the place to go for those of you that are a certain age. It's very important that we keep our seniors involved with what's going on in the community. I'm very, very, very happy, and I'm sure the director will be happy to hear that all of you showed up tonight and stood up and said what a great place it is. Yes, we have a couple of people who are unhappy about certain things, and you know, we can't make everybody happy. So now I'm going to say two other things. First of all, tomorrow night is a town meeting at the old historic Long Branch High School. Begins at 7 o'clock, and if you're interested in what's going on around town, please attend. And the third thing I have to say tonight is I would like to thank Mr. Hayes for the job that he did as business administrator. And again, thank you all for coming out tonight. I appreciate it very much.
I think I've talked too much, but one thing that Dr. Selly just said is I do see a lot of friends out here, and we all appreciate your being here. And what is it, on October 3rd at 10 o'clock? I look forward to the boardwalk, or the walk, whatever that is. So thank you. Thanks for being here, and to everyone else as well. And thanks.
And I too like to thank everyone for coming out this evening, and your concerns mean a lot to us, and we certainly want you to know that we're very supportive of the senior center. We would like to see programs improve and make available to you whatever resources we can find to, bring to the senior center. We're looking into buses, maybe going to trips, and possibly someone said they'd like to go to a pool. Maybe we can, look into those things. The county has a lot of resources, so we've been talking to them, and hopefully, if you have any other things that you would like to see us, look into, please feel free to contact us at any time. I hope everyone comes to the town meeting tomorrow night. We're interested in speaking with you and just bringing the City Hall to the community. And we hope you'll be able to make it. And I hope everyone has a great evening, and thank you for coming tonight.
Council President, I just want to add one thing since you're here. Pat, Dr. Sully, and I have all been trying very hard to address the issue of the driver that's lacking at the senior center. So we'll continue to work on that, and we're trying to do whatever we can to get that going. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. And at this time, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah, but